This podcast is brought to you by Penji. Penji is a creative subscription service that gives you access to pre-vetted, agency-trained creatives from all over the world. From graphic design to illustrations to social media management and web development, it's all included for one monthly price. It's time to say goodbye to the hassle of searching for top-notch creative talent. With Penji, you get quality and consistency delivered right to your inbox every day. Carefully crafted for you by humans, so meet your new creative team today. Head over to penji.co for more and enter the coupon code located within the podcast show notes.
Hello, everyone, and thank you for joining us on the Fully Managed podcast. Thank you, Holly, so much for joining me today. I really appreciate it.
I'm excited. Let's have fun, Shannon.
Yay! Okay, so first we're going to start with a game. As per usual, this game was specifically chosen with you in mind, so I hope that you enjoy it. This game is called Course or Clickbait.
So that's a good one.
So what you're going to do, I think you can guess, is that I'm going to give you a bunch of titles, and you are going to tell me if it's a real learning course that is on the interwebs, or you're going to tell me if it's clickbait, which means it sounds flashy or it's over the top. That sound good?
That's good. Yeah.
Perfect. And then I also want you to tell me a little extra part of that. I want you to tell me if you take it, even if it's not a real course. Like, if you saw it, would you take it?
Yeah. Sounds good. I can do that.
Okay. First is Master the Art of Time Travel with Excel.
I feel like that's clickbait.
You are correct.
And I wouldn't take
that. Yeah, I don't know if I take that either. I think that I wouldn't even click on that. So I don't.
That's really something that exists out there.
No, that's clickbait. You're totally
okay. Good. I don't know. People are crazy.
No, people do be doing that.
Yeah.
Okay. Designing learning communities for the modern classroom.
That's definitely a class.
Yeah, that is a class. You're 2 for 2. Heck yeah.
And I would love to take that. And I think that aligns with what I'm doing at Yellow Dig and my teaching and all that stuff. I would love to hear what other people are saying about building communities.
Yeah, no, I would love to have. I love when I see education advance for the better. There's a lot of things to be pessimistic about where education is concerned in the country, but to be able to see when things are advancing and community-based, especially.
Yeah, I love that too. Yeah.
So next, 5 shocking hacks professors don't want you to know.
That's a tough one, because honestly, people can make a class about that, but then it would all be hearsay, so I would say clickbait.
You are correct. Ooh, maybe I'm making them too easy. Okay.
I mean, I thought about it for a minute, if I'm being honest, because I feel like there's something to be said about the feedback and the evaluations that we get and how we can shift the tailor to teaching so they could maybe shift the message beyond what the title says. But yeah, it sounds like clickbait.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree. I think that in a college classroom, it would be really cool if we have rate my professor and all of that jazz, which is sometimes horrible and sometimes beneficial, but it would be nice if people could actually intake that and do differently if they're not optimally teaching a class.
Absolutely.
Okay. Building engagement through asynchronous discussion.
That's obviously a course.
Yes. Okay. We have 2 more. I hope I can stump you. Maybe. I actually think it's just kind of you see so many titles and like you kind of just know how to.
I've been in this game a while, Shannon, so I can kind of tell. And I will say that I'm a pop culture person, so I can tell clickbait and real stuff, especially with AI out there.
You truly are. You're proving that you truly are the expert. So okay. 2 more, and then we'll get right into it. Okay. This one strategy tripled my student retention overnight.
I want clickbait.
Yeah. Okay.
Anything that's promised or guaranteed to like do something that's like immediate, especially in education, as you know, is clickbait.
Exactly. I understand like the strategy of trying to get someone's attention, but if you're not I think more people, like more than not, when you're using something clickbaity, you're not always providing value on the other end. Like I think people see through that title sometimes.
Sure. Yep.
Okay.
You're.
Oh, sorry.
No, I was gonna say you're 100% correct.
I appreciate that. Okay. Last one. Gamification and motivation in online education. Wow, that was so much alliteration.
That's a course.
That is a real course.
Yeah.
I love learning about gamification. Probably
me too. And motivation to go along with that, the psychology behind all of it is mesmerizing to me.
Yeah, it's really very interesting. I think that yeah, psychology is mentioned so much in the marketing space, but I think gamification is such a fun avenue of using psychology because it's interactive. I think that when marketing is interactive, or at least makes you feel like you're not being marketed to, which is what everyone kind of is their goal, then it's just to be able to maneuver in that space just sounds like a wonderful time.
I love this. This is a great game. I'm going to use this in a LinkedIn post probably. It's so awesome. I love it.
I'll send you. I'll send you the notes.
Yeah.
Like, thank you. I appreciate that. I love the game. It's my favorite part. But so not to discredit the rest of this conversation. It's going to be wonderful, and the game is not the best part. So first, I want to start by you telling us a little bit about yourself so that we can introduce you a little better than just a name. So tell me a little bit about what you're doing right now. Tell me like your career journey, sum that up and let us know about you a little bit.
Happy to do that. I'll do it as succinctly as I possibly can because I've been in this game since 2007. So I started out as a high school teacher, shifted into e-learning development, left the classroom, fell in love with EdTech, all the things technology. And that led me to higher education to support faculty in their use of technology in the classroom, which eventually evolved into instructional design. So I spent a majority of my career in higher education as an instructional designer, instructional technologist. I've been a director. I've done all the different things, but alongside that, in parallel, I've also been teaching in higher education since 2012. So when I left the classroom, I quickly shifted to teach adjunct in higher education, and I've been doing that 2012 is forever ago at this point. So I still teach, and I have been teaching for the past 8 years instructional design courses at Touro University, in the Graduate School of Technology. Beyond that, I also started a podcast at Up L&D where I talk with learning and development professionals about changing careers, about their journeys, about actionable advice, because I really love the transitioning teachers community and supporting them. And then most recently, my role with Yellow Dig was not something that I applied for. It was something that was created for me. And I'm a director of growth marketing, which is really interesting because I'm not a formally trained marketer. But there are a lot of instructional design aspects to marketing that people don't realize, transferable skills like, educators, instructional designers, people in L&D, we can really do anything. Let me see if I forgot anything. I don't think I did.
No,
I could talk about it for a really long time, but basically I'm a transition teacher. I did it before it was cool and everybody was doing it. And I love offering and helping the L&D community with resources on how to do that and how to be an advocate for yourself when you do that.
I absolutely love that. And it's wonderful to hear that you're a professor because that's something that, I value education so much, and I am so thankful for my college experience. Like, my professors are the reason that I, have not only the knowledge that I have today, but the ability to argue so well. And I appreciate them for that.
That's great.
Because I just think that it's so important, and for you to want to share your knowledge in other ways that are helpful, like outside of the classroom, I think is really, really a wonderful path.
Well, thank you. Yeah, I agree. I mean, at this point, I blinked and I'm at this point in my career. So it's definitely time to give back. It's time to give back to the community and help them.
Yeah, not every teacher wants to do that because they're burnt out, and that's okay.
Yeah. No, I love my teaching. I think honestly teaching is the thing that has grounded me throughout all these different experiences that I've had in my career, because I can always go back to teaching and I know exactly what to do. Even though I'm teaching adult learners and not K to 12, it's something it's a part of me. And I can also, it proves to the people that I'm talking to, especially higher education faculty, that I am putting into fruition what I'm telling you to do. I am actually doing it. So it's kind of like proof that it is possible and you should do it.
How are you able to market for Yellow Dig specifically with like an audience that's diverse, like outside of educators, like admin and students?
Yeah, we have a lot of different people in the team that are focused on our different ICPs.
Mm-hmm.
We have a person who's on people on the enterprise team, then we have people on the regular sales team, and the conversations are different. It's different when you talk to leadership as to when you're talking to faculty or instructional designers or learners. Mostly my perspective is coming from the faculty take on how you can use Yellow Dig to build community. It's authentic conversations. It's not this post once, respond twice. It's really about people coming together and the human connection. Whereas when you're talking to a higher up, it's really about like, well, how is this going to impact the goals of the institution, the strategic plan? How is the technology going to help there? And what's the return on investment going to be? So at the higher level, it's a little bit more about revenue and return on investment for them. But at the course level, it's more about like, what are the learners getting out of this, and how impactful is this tool, insert whatever said tool here. So marketing to that for each ICP is very different, and the conversations are different.
Yeah, I understand catering it to each person, or like each type of person or each group. And I think that makes a lot of sense because they have different goals and so that they're trying to accomplish. And so it makes sense to direct your attention at different, meanings that they're searching for.
Right. Absolutely.
Can you kind of talk about some of the tools that you discuss in these courses?
Yeah, so when I am teaching instructional design courses, we use a variety of different tools. So the students get experience into like things like Articulate, which is an e-learning authoring tool. They get experience Articulate, iSpring. They get experience with LMSs, education LMSs like Canvas. Some of the other tools that I'm definitely using Gen AI to help. I'm going to say that's 100% something that I advocate for in my classroom, and that students use in my particular course. They have to design an entire training experience, start to finish, 8 to 10 hours. And I'm like, you need to go out to AI and just ask it questions, because I encourage them. Most of them are New York City public school teachers. They have to step outside of that focus and then really focus on the adult learner. So adult learning theory comes into play there. So I'm like, use ChatGPT. So using AI to help you kind of formulate what you're going to do, not necessarily do it for you, but give you the ideas. Obviously, I use Yellow Dig in my classes to build community. That's a big part of what we do. Our courses have shifted from weekly synchronous to online asynchronous. So there's been a big, like, we have to really focus on building that community. What else? There's so many different things. If I find something cool, I definitely share it out. But the big ones, yes, but the big ones are getting them into tools that are going to be used for application in like the real world, like the what's in it for me. Like, how does this apply to me now, or how is this going to apply to me in the future? So our program really focuses on preparing students for that.
Oh, and I really appreciate what you specifically mentioned about like generative AI, because I do think that, like, regardless of how you feel about its incorporation into the creative world, you have to learn it. Like, it's not something that's even like debatable at this point. Like, it's something that is seen 100%. As a value. And if you don't know how to use it, you're unfortunately already behind.
Yeah, you're really right. You're doing a disservice to your learners who are trying to kind of navigate these things, even if they're in the classroom, or if they're in the L&D space, or they're in the marketing space already. You're doing a disservice to them, not letting them explore how to use these in a productive way.
Yeah, I kind of think about it how I kind of compare it to, I remember when I was in high school and we weren't allowed to use calculators for a lot of different formulas, right. But then because they told us in college that we wouldn't be able to use those.
And you are.
And then we are. And it's like, I don't know how to use a calculator efficiently because I wasn't allowed to use a calculator. It's like, if you're not raised on a certain technology, it's much harder to learn it. So it's right. Really great to have it incorporated into a course that is supposed to be in tandem to like your workload.
Exactly. And the calculator thing is a great analogy. Like, that happened to me too way back in the day. Like we had a little sheet of paper where we could write all our notes on, and front and back. And so it would always be writing like formulas or whatever notes I needed to. And like, college really wasn't like that. It's more of an open experience and like more conversational, and like it is more community building. So, like K-12 and higher education need to talk a little bit better.
Yeah, it's because the real world is hard, but also like in so many ways they don't want you to be doing grunt work, like tedious things. Like they want to make that easier for you because right. They want you to be efficient most of the time. That's not always the case, but in the workforce I feel like they should want for their workers to be as efficient as possible, and obviously they're going to give you the tools to do so if they can. So why would you prepare to not use those tools?
Why are you incorporating barriers that aren't necessary?
Yeah, it doesn't make any sense.
It doesn't really make sense. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's something that like foundationally there may be a lot of problems with the incorporation of AI into certain workloads or design specifically, but at the same time it's something that's not going away. So
right. I get it. I mean, at this point, I was born in the 80s, I grew up in the 90s, so I'm analog digital. Not a digital native, but I've seen the evolution of it. And the thing is, like, you don't realize how much technology is a part of you now. Like, I remember having, I'm dating myself, and a cell phone with minutes on it. And I literally would hang up on the phone with my friend so I could save the minutes. And this was before the after 9 p.m. thing at Verizon. But just think about, like, if we're nixing those things out of our lives, they're going to become a part of your lives anyway, because there's going to be things like Apple Pay. There's going to be things like Google Pay. There's going to be, things where you're getting face recognized when you go to the airport, and like, it's going to become a part of it, and you're not going to realize that it's becoming a part of it. So it's best to kind of learn about it, not saying that you have to use it all the time, instead of resisting it, because you're just doing, like, you yourself are just like, it's really unnecessary to do that as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, like you are welcome to live a lot of your life without having to like heavily invest in certain tools, like have them take over your life. But for work specifically, especially when you're in the tech world, but honestly, it's kind of incorporated into almost all worlds now. It's still important to learn about how to use these tools to, optimize things. I think that it's also when you're resistant, you don't realize what could be like. I think for the longest time I tried to avoid using ChatGPT when it first came out, because
me too.
I was like, what if I don't think for myself anymore?
Right. It's taking away from that, and I think that ChatGPT is a sidekick for you. Exactly. It's really like, I have ADHD, I have like some of these neurodivergent things going on. I was just talking to my students about this, like, they were kind of bashing ChatGPT and saying that it doesn't let you, like what you're saying, it's not authentic, it's not human. But to me, it helps me organize my thoughts better.
Yes.
Because I'm all over the place a lot of the time. So when I put in a ChatGPT, it's nicely organized, and I'm like, hey, that's exactly what I wanted to say, but I just couldn't get the words out of my brain to say it in the logical flow that it's supposed to be in.
No, 100%. I feel exactly the same way. I am a rambler, and so I synchronize my thoughts. Like, I make more succinct thoughts with ChatGPT, and that has been incredibly helpful. And I even have talked to previous guests that have told me, like, we work with international teams, and the way in which I speak comes off differently in certain places.
Culture things.
And they use that as a way to make it better, like make conversations more seamless, less I don't know, like sometimes it comes off as crass,
it's awkward. It's uncomfortable. Like things that we might say here in the States aren't exactly acceptable in other places. I could use an example from Great Britain, which I'm not going to use, but like we have to understand other people's culture because we're working at a global scale now in digital. And also too, I think it shows a level of respect and builds a level of trust when you do that. So if ChatGPT can help accelerate that so we can get past the barriers of maybe some language things or some culture things, and we can just learn to work together. I mean, that's golden. Like who would want to resist that?
Exactly. Yeah. Well, speaking of, because we were talking about community-based learning as well before this, how do you bring, okay, so that energy is focused on the classroom, but how do you bring that energy to like your team?
Yeah, I think, what it's far too often people are reactive to team building. Like the problem has already been happening and then they try to fix it. What I bring to my team is that this is what I say to them. I trust you until you give me a reason not to.
Yeah.
If you have a problem with something, if you don't tell me about it, I can't help you. And I tell my students this too. Like the transparency to me is very key to building that trust. Because I'm giving you the benefit of the doubt to begin with. Like I'm very much in a servant leadership style, but if I don't know things, I can't help you. So you have to be able to communicate that. And also too, I think it kind of levels the playing field. Like if I'm the director, I'm not up on this pedestal where you can't talk to me, you can't access me, like you just have to go through all these different hoops to get to me, like I'm in my ivory tower. Like I'm right there down there with you, in the trenches. I understand what you're going through. I'm empathetic, all those different things. So for my team, that has really worked. I feel like we build a level of trust with each other where we can communicate about things, but also that makes things work better when we're doing projects because people feel okay and open. And my team's been like the only people, everybody else is international besides me.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm working with a very dynamic team in marketing who's in different places in the world. So I think building that trust to begin with, and then when there's issues that arise, like we just need to have a conversation about it. And at the end of the day, we're all humans. Like we're gonna make mistakes. Building in those fail-safe things, like this is not a place where we're going to, punish you if you make a mistake. You know, we're just gonna learn from that and we're gonna move on to the next thing. And maybe at some point you might need some professional development in that area, being supportive along those ways. It's just a very supportive, empathetic, like transparent environment. And that's been very successful for me. I know other people say to do it other ways, but that's not how I roll.
No, I appreciate that. And I would agree with that leadership style is really optimal for growth and like comfortability to grow. Because I think that when you are uncomfortable with bringing up something to someone that can help you and their actions prove to make you uncomfortable, then you can't grow or fix a problem. You're just going to try to hide problems. And that doesn't make sense to me.
It really doesn't. And fear blocks the mind. Like fear doesn't enable you or motivate you to want to do better. It actually does worse things to you. Like people say this better. When it's a positive work environment, has a totally different perspective. Like we're talking about the psychology of it, of people when they feel like they feel safe, when they feel respected, when they feel trusted, when they feel empowered, like they can do things and that there's somebody behind them. I mean, that's community building 101 right there.
Yeah, and that's also a way for people to feel more comfortable taking risks too, because that's really important in marketing. And I think that fear, like if you have a community behind you that like is supporting you in your decision making and like like amps you up to know that you're like educated and like you've done the work to prove that this works and like supporting you in that way. And I think that that's especially important for a marketing team, all teams of course, but specifically a marketing team where like you're not always going to be 100% sure that something will work the way you're
like when you're stimulating a channel, like a social channel, or you're posting something on LinkedIn and your teammates like it, or you're getting responses and stuff, that recognition is just going to propel you 100% to be more motivated to take more risk. And of course there's going to be those people who come back to you and say something rude or negative. That's part of the game when you're in sales and marketing. You just have to develop some thick skin with that. But internally, it shouldn't feel that way. We can't control other people on the outside and how they receive the message, but we can definitely on the inside control the message and what we're saying to each other.
Yeah, no, I 100% agree. I think that support is the biggest opportunity for growth and, to feel comfortable doing so and to learning more and, wanting to learn more from your team as well. Like if you have that environment, then I think it fosters growth for the entire community as a whole.
Yeah, I agree.
With your experience as an instructor, what do you think marketers kind of misunderstand a lot and like about how people learn specifically?
I think, marketers are really looking to be that clickbait because they want the click to open rate, they want the CTR, they want the sale. Okay. We want the lead to convert to a sale. And it's really about understanding people. The personalization of messages, which I understand is not always capable with the masses, but truly understand where the instructor is coming from. I'm an adjunct. I'm not a full-time professor. So the pressure of like research things, tenure, all the different things instructors do every day is not on me, but I understand it because I've worked in that environment. So kind of understanding that they're in a high pressure situation as well and finding the middle ground into where that message can have you both meet in the middle. Like, yes, I see this as an opportunity for my class. I don't exactly have the time right now. So can you reach back out at a certain point? Because I feel like in marketing and sales, it's very high pressure. So we feel compelled to perform at all times. But again, the human aspect of that isn't changing. They're a professor. You have a job to like kind of sell the product and market the product. Also too, like I always go back to what's in it for me, because nobody sits through a presentation or listens to a podcast if they don't feel like they're going to get something out of it. Mm-hmm. So what's in it for the instructor? Why are they listening to your pitch? You're passionate about the product. You're passionate about whatever you're selling, but you've been doing that. So why should an instructor listen to you? What is it going to offer to them? What is the value to them? And being able to persuade them that this does have value, that takes some time. But you really have to hone in on that. What's in it for me? And I think a little bit of the FOMO too. That's important as a marketer, like making fear of missing out. Like, that gets me for sure. Like people are like this sale or whatever they do. I click on stuff.
Oh yeah, no, I think that that's a good added thing, because I think that when you discuss like the strategy of clickbait, I think sometimes that FOMO idea kind of gets meshed into that same idea.
Yeah.
Like people think it's similar, and it is, but there's still, I think that there's some warrant in the fear of missing out strategy, where in clickbait is kind of hollow. Whereas like, if you're providing something of value with that FOMO, I love that. If you're providing something of value with that FOMO, then it is something that is still, it's not hollow, as if like a clickbait title would be. Like it's not providing something of value underneath.
100%. It's a give-take relationship. It's not like you have to give something to get something, whether that's respect or whether that's like booking a demo or because you're taking up their time and they're taking up your time by you messaging them. So it's definitely a give-take relationship, and that 100% needs to be recognized and from the marketer perspective.
Yeah, of course. It's just like the to understand your client profile, you really need to provide value for them, and it's not just what they can do for you, become a sale, whatever it may be, but like you need to help them out. They need to see that this is like, unfortunately, it's still going to be somewhat transactional but that's literally what you're looking for. That's what
but if you can add as much of the human element as possible, it doesn't feel so transactional. It feels like everybody's helping each other.
Exactly. And gamification is a perfect example of that.
Yes.
It feels like it's not it feels like it's not marketing. So it's so, if you're doing it right, it feels like it's not people don't want to feel like you're selling them. They want to just like what they're buying. And
Right.
And that is, it's sometimes a difficult transition and a real, you really have to understand psychology and the human element enough to do that correctly and not make it feel forced or uncomfortable, because that's where you're going to have drop off.
Yeah, 100%.
What do you think is the most important thing that you've learned from working in both like the academic field and also tech spaces?
In the academic field, I would say the most important thing that I've learned is that learners are at the center of everything you do. And that that's a non-negotiable. They're there, they're paying us to do our jobs to help them be successful in their lives. It's kind of like a parent-child relationship. You want better for your child and not to make the same mistakes that you did. So you're acting as that guide, as an instructor, to help them be successful and find the path that works for them and the formula that works for them. So that's what being in academia has taught me about. The student, the learner, whoever it is, whether they're 13 years old or whether they're 55 years old, they are at the center. They are trying to accomplish something, and you are their support in that. And working from, if you're looking at it from a marketing perspective, or you're looking at it from like an L&D perspective, L&D very much focuses on the learner too. But on the other side, the customer, like they're a person. Again, the customer is at the center of everything you do. And while there are internal projects and things that need to happen, you need to create documentation, collateral, all that stuff. If you think about what the customer needs and you're focused on giving back to them, and focused on building community, focused on the human stuff, I feel like it's a win-win for everybody. Like, I understand there's companies out there that just want the sale. Like they focus on features, they focus on like how this is going to prove, maybe fix one problem that you have, which is not necessarily, the best way to market. And at Yellow Day, we sell the product and not the features. We sell like what it brings to the classroom. So I would say focusing on the things that, again, it brings to, like, focusing on the customer and what their needs really are. Because once you move focus away from that, then what's the point? It's like you said, if you're doing that high pressure, like, please buy this thing, it's not going to work out great for anybody. And then the customer is going to buy it once. They're not going to be a returning customer. And then they're going to spread word about how your company operates. All the different things negative that surround that are going to impact what you do.
Yeah, I think that understanding your customer also kind of comes with understanding yourself as well. Like you really have to kind of understand your brand to realize like the problem that you're truly solving, and also understand your customer in a way of like, is this a problem that needs to be solved? Like, is this a problem that, or maybe are we looking at the wrong problem? Like, is this something that, people don't really need, but they do need this for something else? And I love seeing a marketing, I love seeing a switch in marketing campaigns because a new group is introduced to some kind of product or service that is surprising to the owner of the business. Those are my favorite case studies.
Like, you put the product out there and then the customers use it in a different way you never expected them to use it. Like, the consumers are really pushing you to evolve as a company. Yeah, that stuff's great. I love that stuff.
Yeah, I think it's so fun. And I think that I think that to what you're saying, and, kind of, I guess, all encompassing of what we've been talking about, is like, it's important to learn from your client too. Like, it's important to learn from your customer, and you're just like, you're trying to educate them on your product or your service or whatever it may be. You also want to learn from them about, what's the best way of doing that? Like, what's the best way of performing for them?
Right. We're assuming that they have a problem. We're making that assumption without even talking to them necessarily. And I don't know, that sounds like to me, like in a relationship or in a friendship, that's unsolicited advice we're giving them that they really didn't ask for. So we need to listen first and then decide if they're actually having that problem. And then that's when we can have the conversation about the product or what it can do. And I understand, like, making the assumptions sometimes isn't great, because we're assuming everybody has that problem, putting everybody in the same box, which is not the case.
Yeah, it's almost like a little tone deaf. Like you have to understand that.
Yes.
So to round out this podcast in like a fun question for you. If you had no bounds or constrictions to create a marketing campaign for, I guess, whatever you're doing, because there's multiple avenues in which you could do a marketing campaign with what you do right now, whichever place you want to do that at, what would your idea be?
You know what? I'm going to go with, I really love like listening. I love pop culture. I listen, you see Taylor Swift's back here. Um, I would really love to do like some of those big in-person events for a marketing campaign, kind of like the Call Her Daddy stuff. Like some of the big podcast influencers have really taken it outside the room of the podcast and really grown a community that way, and interacting with the fans and interacting with our clients in a way that is just, it's so engaging and it's so much fun, and everybody like just having a good time with it, not feeling the pressure of the sale, but instead feeling like you're spreading the brand awareness, you're building this community, and you're getting to meet people IRL that you wouldn't necessarily get to do because we're remote. I love those big events. I think they're so, what a way to kind of put yourself out there and a way to kind of continue to build your brand. I think that would be fun. Like having, if I could get like somebody like famous to come and be a part of that event too, and that is as passionate and aligned with our mission. I think that would be so much fun. That would be so cool to do. I also told my CEO recently, I'm like, wouldn't it be cool, because I love baseball, to have like Yellow Dig Stadium like as one of the Major League Baseball stadiums? Like they, you say it all the time, like I like the Orioles, so there's an Oriole Park at Camden Yards, but like Cardinals at Busch Stadium, like T-Mobile, like it's the brand is the stadium is the brand, and it's everywhere. So that would be fun for me too. So I gave you 2.
No, I love those, because the second one was like big dream, and the first one is like, okay, this is like kind of attainable, like you could do
that's
that
kind of possible,
like, in the future. Okay, the second one is like, it's still possible. I don't want to destroy your hopes and dreams. Still possible would be awesome, but it's like a really exciting
it's
thing.
Multi-millionaire stuff.
But I really do understand the in-person podcast stream too, because I really do understand and resonate with that, because it's just like, it is so wonderful to be able to get to know about people and learn from them in this podcast. Thank you again for joining me.
Of course.
Like yourself, but it is also really lovely to meet people in person. It's just like a slightly different experience to fight that we can make it as personal as possible, but there's nothing, nothing compares to like shaking someone's hand,
right? Like seeing their face and the body language and stuff, as much as like you can only see me but standing in front of somebody and standing in front of a room and hearing their feedback, or there's something different about it. I'm not saying that digital doesn't work, but like every once in a while you need to have that in-person experience as a part of your plan.
No, I definitely agree. And I think that was a beautiful forward-looking way to end this podcast, because we're a little over time. But I had a lovely time chatting with you. Me too. Thank you so much.
By very fast.
I know, exactly. Yeah, like I didn't even notice. I looked up and was like, oh, we gotta go. But thank you so much for joining me today. This was an absolute pleasure. I think I learned a lot, and I think that you provided a lot of education for our audience as well. So thank you so much.
Of course. Happy to join.
Thank you. And thank you everyone for listening. We'd be nothing without you. I hope that you can check out other episodes and learn just like you did this episode. Thank you so much.
You've been listening to Fully Managed, brought to you by Penji. Check out the show notes to learn more about today's guest, and to learn more about Penji, the human-first creative subscription service, head over to penji.co. And by the way, if you're still listening, it would mean the absolute world to us if you were to share this podcast with a friend, and of course, subscribe.